Welcome to this week's episode of Second Glance. My name is Andrew. I'm one of our associate pastors. With me is Zach, our pastoral resident.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, hello. Zach. And Annie, one of our administrative assistants. So we're so glad you joined in to this episode today as we look at Acts chapter 8, really the second half of this. And this is a pretty unique story, a little wild, but also just really fun.
Yeah.
Right. This is a story of someone coming to know Jesus. And I think if you're like us, you probably love hearing testimonies. We always love hearing how God does what only he can do, how he draws people closer to himself, pulls them from whatever faith or lack of faith that they had, and just shows them who Jesus is, shows them what Jesus has done for them, the love of God, and how they come to know the Lord. And that's what we have here recorded, right? This Ethiopian eunuch and his faith story of how God just grabs a hold of his heart in such an amazing way.
Yeah.
As you look at this text, what's some of the things that stood out to you?
Annie?
He was a eunuch. So I cannot relate to that specific, but I can relate to the fact that he felt like an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone at some point, we feel like an outcast. It's very different when you're from a different country and you come into another country. You want to assimilate the culture, but you still have so much of your own that you don't want to lose. So I'm sure this Ethiopian man continued being an Ethiopian even after he became Christian. So he didn't lose his culture, but he made of himself a new identity. And I think when I think about coming to Christ, my identity is no longer based on me being Mexican or being conservative or being a Democrat, but it's based on who Christ is. So that is what pops into my head when I think of this Ethiopian eunuch, Gentile man. That I don't have to worry about all those titles.
Sure.
The only title I worry about is the one that I carry now, which is Christ follower.
Yeah. That's good. And I mean, studying for the text, there's obviously a lot of things that came to my mind that I'm like, man, there's so much we can talk about.
And you unpacked a lot of the eunuch and the background of the man.
Yeah. But like one of the things we were just talking about is the baptism story. Like how there wasn't really a time, there wasn't at all a time in between his conversion and his baptism. And that's something that in the church today that we don't necessarily practice all the time. We don't really go in and say, well, I accepted the Lord. Let's pour some water, out, and we can baptize me right here. No, we treat it. I made the allusion to treating it like a marriage. We're like, okay, well, I'm saved, and now I have to prepare all this time before I can make that proclamation of baptism. And this is just such a interesting story because throughout the book of Acts, we don't see that. We see repent and be baptized. So.
Yeah, and I love that too. I love how quickly he gets baptized. And like the first thing after he comes to faith is like, what prevents me from getting baptized?
Right.
Like, look over, you see a lake, like, let's go. And they go, and he gets baptized. And I think that there's just something about that is so genuine and so raw and so just the statement of like, Lord, I'm yours. I love you.
Right.
I want my life to reflect that and be for you. And I think that, Zach, you alluded to a little bit, but in our context today, in our church, in America, I think so often we try to complicate it. We struggle to, honestly, I think often we struggle to feel grace, right? We know what it is. We know what it means that like, yes, I've sinned, that Jesus died for me, that I'm saved, I'm forgiven. But it's so easy for us to think, but when you go to work, you have to work hard to get that paycheck. And if you don't work hard, you'll get fired, right? We feel like we have to earn some level of it. And I think that it plays into our baptism whenever we feel like, well, I need to make sure I really understand. I need to make sure that I really am committed, that I really straighten some things out, and then I'll get baptized. Or I need to learn more, and then I'll do it because I'm not ready.
Right. I think that growth comes after the baptism.
Absolutely, right? Because we see here that the only preparation that we need to get baptized is belief in God.
Yeah.
It's just faith in Jesus.
Yeah.
Right? Like you believe,
Yeah.
awesome. Like let's etch this in stone. Let's proclaim the gospel in front of other people, and let this be a moment that you can reflect on for the rest of your life as a moment that you always remember at your baptism what God did for you.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not that it saves you. Baptism doesn't save you,
No.
but when it's so closely tied to us coming to know Jesus,
Yeah.
we remember like, oh man, what an amazing season of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so powerful for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think another thing that kind of goes in line with this, we talk about like we want more knowledge as we get closer to baptism. I think we do the same thing with evangelism. Like we talked about navigating conversations and what that looks like and what evangelism looks like. And I think so often we always fall back on excuses of, well, I don't have knowledge, so I can't evangelize. And that's not what we see in the book of Acts, right? Like Philip is chosen as someone who is serving tables, and then he's like, well, I have to go out and proclaim who Jesus is. Right. So it's cool to see the fire that Philip has and Stephen, and I think often we experience that, and we're like, well, now I need to wait and take a class to see how I can tell people about Jesus.
We like the words, I'm not ready. That's something that somebody reminded me 2 years ago when I started leading Bible studies. I told a very wise pastor that I wasn't ready, and he just convicted me with, "You're never going to be fully ready, not until you get to Christ's feet, right?
Yeah.
But if you have it in your heart to go to evangelize or to teach about Christ, then just rely on the Holy Spirit. He will put the words in you. He will grow in you and teach you as you go. There's nothing wrong with learning. We're always constantly learning.
Yeah.
So it's humbling, actually. Right. It's humbling to recognize that you are not fully ready, because then you put it on the Lord's side, not on his side of the court, not on yours.
Yeah.
And we know that he will always have his perfect sovereign plan.
Yeah.
So that is also humbling, and it's peaceful. It brings you peace.
Yeah. And I think it's helpful to kind of think through like believers in different contexts. Recently I was overseas and got to see some believers in a country that, really where Christianity is not very popular at all. And their heart to reach the lost.
Yeah.
And some of those places, those unreached countries where, you've been a believer for 2 days and they're like, all right, Jesus, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they go and they share their faith.
Yeah.
And there's a genuineness and a love for God in that is just reliant on him of, Lord, this is what we do. Because you tell us it's what we do. And I just want to be faithful to that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's wisdom in like, all right, how do we do that effectively?
Sure.
How do we do it in love? And I really love this story with Philip here. And I'm so jealous because I don't know about you, but I don't never actually just had a conversation fall in my lap like this. Where he's just, walking on the side of the road and like the easiest thing ever. He just walks right into it because it's God ordained here.
Yeah.
But he does things that I think that we can learn from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And the first thing that I kind of see is he goes over here and he just like reads the situation.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't like force himself into it, but he reads the situation and tries to figure out how can I just ask a question to build a bridge, to find some common ground.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like going to a coffee shop and seeing someone reading a book and saying, what are you reading?
Yeah.
He literally asked that question.
That's what he says. What are you reading?
Thankfully, he was reading Isaiah.
Yeah.
That might not happen today with us, but we know
Yeah.
that we can reach people by what they're wearing because they are Yankee fans. That's that's relatable.
Or Guardians, most likely.
And you can just start a conversation and care for the person and meet them where they're at, which is what Philip does.
Yeah.
And then it just sparks the gospel. So we have those opportunities, I think, every day. And sometimes we're a little worried or scared that they might not take us the way that we want them to. But it all depends on how you start it. Caring for them and not trying to set an agenda.
Yeah.
So not making a person into your what's the word?
Project.
Project. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a project. It's love, and love doesn't look like a project.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. It's definitely trying to be spirit led in these conversations.
Yeah.
Just trying to be used by the Lord. Really, it starts by just being around people
Yeah.
and praying
Yeah.
the bold and hard prayer each
Yeah.
day of, Lord, use me today. However you see fit, help me to see people and
Yeah.
to share my faith. And he'll bring opportunities, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But he's with us in that, and it's for his glory and our good. So
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Second Glance, and I pray that this gives you and your group something to talk about tonight.